I started telling this story so many times and I never finished it. You guys know I did a haunted hotel story in Miami. What's funny about that is I was actually going to film a haunted hotel story before that hotel story with something that was really sketchy that happened in New York. I was gonna post that story like the week that everything happened in Miami, and I was like, no, this story takes precedent. I have to tell this story. And then after that, this story just kind of seemed kind of like lame because that one was so intense. But this one was pretty sketchy too. This happened when I was in New York in, what month was that? It must have been November. So I get to my hotel room and the first thing I do is a live stream. So I'm in my live stream and as I'm talking, I see something in the camera pass by my head. And I kind of just felt like a whoosh. And mid-sentence on the stream, I went like, and turned around and it startled me. And I looked at my comment section and everybody was going off like, oh my God, did you see that? I saw that. What was that? Was that a ghost? Gabby, run, I'm scared. And I started getting really freaked out because I was like, oh my God, I know I'm paranoid, but if everybody in the stream just like felt or sensed or whatever was just behind me, that is so scary. So I'm already terrified right off the bat, but I have had my fair share of ghosty experiences, as we know. So I don't get too startled when I see shadows like lurking in the corners. It didn't really affect me. But then it got kind of crazy. I have a friend in New York and I had him come hang out with me while I was there. We're just like hanging out, watching TV, having a little chit chat, and out of nowhere, we hear this sound that can only be described as a gasp. It sounded like, it was like a, and it wasn't quiet, and it wasn't really mistaken. It was, that's what it sounded like. Because at the same time, this kid and I both jumped so hard and we were so scared because our minds didn't immediately go to, oh my God, there's a ghost. Our minds went to, oh my God, somebody's getting harmed. And it was very audibly noticeable from one particular corner. Like we both at the same time jolted and looked in the same direction. And of course, because this is how horror movies work out, it was behind a curtain. So we hear this gasp and we're honestly terrified. I'm grabbing onto his arm and we're so silent. We're not even breathing. We're just listening for something else. And you can tell both of us are thinking the same thing. Like, okay, that was a gasp, right? A few moments passed. I couldn't tell you if it was 5 seconds or 5 minutes because it just felt like time was standing still because we were so scared. And finally, we both sort of relax a little and we look at each other and we're like, did you hear what I hear? It was like a gasp, right? And then we were both like, yeah, it sounded like somebody was choking and trying to breathe. And then all of a sudden there's a huge bang. The way the hotel was, it was a balcony, sliding doors, a curtain, and then the rest of the room. The bang sounded like somebody was trying to kick in the freaking door. And we're several floors up. It wasn't like somebody was fighting on the street. It was like, holy shit, somebody's on our balcony. So right now, again, we're thinking the same thing. There's people on the balcony. There's a struggle. This girl is gasping for air. And in my head, I'm imagining that there's a man out there and he's holding a woman and hurting her and slammed her against the glass. And that's our thought is, oh my God, somebody's being hurt in our hotel room. I don't know how they got in. I don't know how they got on the balcony, but it was, I'm like, you hear me breathing? I'm like getting all worked up thinking about it. So this kid hops up, he puts his finger to his lips saying like, don't say anything, goes to his bag and he pulls out a switchblade because that's the type of company I keep. He very slowly walks to the balcony and he's shaking too. Like he's obviously really scared. He pulls the curtain back and there's nothing there. We both just stand there. We look through the glass doors for a minute, both holding our breath. He opens the sliding door. He puts his head out. He looks all around. He turns around and he says, there's nobody here. And I just, something felt wrong. He closed the door, he came back over to me and he was like, there's nothing there, there's nothing to worry about. It scared me too, but nobody's out there. But in my head, I'm just still thinking, no, there's something wrong here. Because the banging, you can blame a lot of things on wind, but the banging didn't sound like wind hitting a window. It felt and sounded like a person hitting the window. And the gasp was so human and it had emotion in it. Like it wasn't wind, it was like a, I can't describe it, you had to be there. And we're sitting, we're chilling, we're relaxing, and this is where I just was like, game over. This is the type of doorknob it was. It was the kind where you go like this, and then you go like this, and then to open it, you go like this and slide the door. So it's one of these buddies, okay? It's only supposed to go to about here. I'm looking over the door, and this doorknob on its own, we're both on the same side of the room, went like this. So hard and hyperextended so much that it banged against the thingy of the door. What's the name for it? You know, there's like the door and then there's knob. Okay, here's another diagram. Oh God. Okay, here's the doorknob, here's the door frame. It went like this. Okay, okay, well when I show you with like patty cakes, it's not as terrifying, but it was really scary. It hit the door frame so hard that it left an indentation. Now you mean to tell me that the wind somehow took this doorknob, blew hard enough against it that just the doorknob moved up, hyperextended enough to hit the frame of the door, and then came back down? I did not sleep that entire night. My friend was like trying to go home. I was like, you stay put until my flight arrives. Literally stayed up all night. Thank God that was the last night I was in New York, because if that would have happened earlier, I would have left. That's the end of the story, honestly.